Hi, welcome to Studio 708. Today we're going to grade a two-way stretch hip foundation into different stretch categories, different stretch ratios. Let's get started. So we talk about needing to do negative ease here, and negative ease means we need to make it smaller. So we're going to grade on an XY axis. I labeled my Y and I labeled my X here, and I've placed my hip foundation at the point 0 for the hip level, and the center front, center back is on my Y. So on this XY axis, the negative goes to the left and the negative Y goes down. We are not going to use the negative Y in this instance, but we're going to use the negative X. So to create our stretch ratio down the right amount for each different ratio, that sounded kind of weird, but anyhow, we need to take off 2 inches every time. So we're going to come over here a ½ inch and we're going to make ½ inch marks across here. So I'm going to do this in some different colors so that you can see what we've got going on. Black will be our original here. And then we're going to do one in blue. And we'll do one in red. And once again, I'm using a marker, but you guys should be using a pencil, mechanical pencil preferably, because it'll make your pattern much more accurate than what this marker is going to be making mine. Okay, so now we know how much we're going to be moving our hip foundation every time. So because we'll be moving it to the left, we'll be taking out some of this width in here. So let me just do it and I'll show you how it works. So this first one, I'm going to go ahead and trace it just like it is, so we have an original sample to go from. Okay, so you can see I just traced my hip foundation. Now I'm going to move it over to the first ½ inch mark. Make sure that I'm lining it up with my Y-axis line. And you can see through my paper here that I'm a ½ inch all the way up. If you feel more confident, you could always draw this line ½ inch all the way up so you could see it. Okay, I'm going to use our blue marker. And I just need to start at the Y-axis. I don't need to start over here because that's the part that we're going to be cutting off anyway. So I'm going to be starting here and just tracing this section. Okay, so you can see we've got another line going on there. This one's a little messy. This marker is bleeding a little bit, but you get the point. So we're right there. Okay, our next line is red. This would be our very stretchy ratio. We're going to move this over again just to that next ½ inch mark and line it up again at our bottom. And then we're just tracing from that center front line, or from the Y-axis, excuse me. Okay, so now you see we have our minimum stretch, our moderate stretch, our very stretch, and now we're going to do our super stretch. So our last one coming across here, once again, we're still starting at the Y-axis, and we're just tracing. Okay. So when I take this off, you can see that we've got 4 different sizes here. So really grading itself works the same way between sizes, but you would have more points to grade too. We've only graded this little section, we've only taken off from the center basically. So this one was a very simple grade, but the same process would apply to just grading between like a size small and a size medium, or vice versa. But anyhow, that's all there is to grading the hip foundation. When you go to cut it out, you'll cut out, you're going to kind of stagger these steps right here and cut those, or else you'll have to trace it and do each one at a time. But anyhow, you should end up with 4 patterns from this foundation here. We're going to draw a guideline down the middle. You can do this after you've already cut it out, or I'm doing mine now, either way. We're just going to draw a 1 inch mark here. So draw my guideline first and then come down 1 inch. And this will be the part that we're actually going to take out for the 4-way stretch. So once you've cut this out and you've got your different ones going there, if you're going to do a 4-way stretch pattern, you need to take out the length, because part of that 4-way stretch obviously is it's going to be growing this way too. And if you don't take this out, your garment will end up being too long when you put it on. So to do that, you would just fold that out. Then you would get your hip curve and reblend this line. We're going to draw a guideline down the middle. You can do this after you've already cut it out, or I'm doing mine now, either way. We're just going to draw a 1-inch mark here. So draw my guideline first and then come down 1 inch. And this will be the part that we're actually going to take out for the 4-way stretch. So once you've cut this out and you've got your different ones going there, if you're going to do a 4-way stretch pattern, you need to take out the length, because part of that 4-way stretch obviously is it's going to be growing this way too. And if you don't take this out, your garment will end up being too long when you put it on. So to do that, you would just fold that out. Then you would get your hip curve and reblend this line.